2013 marked the release of Rome 2 Total War, one of the most anticipated Total War games in the franchise in history. But upon release, it really didn't meet hype at all. Instead, it let quite a few of the die-hard fans out there of the Total War franchise down. So just over 12 months on from the original 3rd of September 2013 release date for a Total War Rome 2, how much has the game changed? And now with the new Emperor Edition game being given out to people that had the game originally, what has changed? Is it good change? And is the game now in a playable and good state? Well, today we're going to look at the key features of the game and see if that game is actually at a stage now where it's worth buying and worth spending your hard-earned money on. A new trailer was released with the announcement that the Emperor Edition is going to include this campaign expansion pack. Now this pretty much puts you in a civil war position in Rome, which is what we really wanted in the Grand Campaign as a mechanic to the original game when it first came out in September last year. However, that wasn't the case. However, now this is an opportunity to really explore that time period and explore the kind of civil wars and betrayals of Rome, which is pretty cool. So today when I actually do some of the testing and generally play some of the battles in campaign and have a look at how the politics and technical side of things has come along, I will be playing this particular campaign now with the newly updated Emperor Edition. This is free for everyone that already has the game, but I thought I'd show you it because it's a new thing, and if you haven't got this game yet but you're looking to and you're really not sure if it's even worth it yet, then it'll be a good chance to see some of the new free content which you'll be getting that has been added to it. The game is now in patch 15, so that's 15 separate patches that have been released over the year period that we've had since the launch of Total War. It's been quite consistent and good every month with new patches, sometimes adding new features, but most of the time really just correcting a lot of the original mistakes the game made, such as poor AI programming and taking out some in-game features which generally weren't needed, such as the flags for domination type kind of battles. No one really liked them, although they work for siege battles. Employing them on the battlefield when doing open land battles or sea battles was a complete waste of time and really was an easy gateway for AI to really be programmed just to go straight for the flag, which we saw in early gameplay was the exact case of them doing. So now 12 months on, how has the game changed, and more importantly, how has the AI changed? That was probably one of the most annoying and frustrating aspects of the game upon release. The only way I was going to find out about this is to go on the game with no mods on at all, nothing to modify the appearance or anything of the game, and really just go and play the new Emperor Edition with the new patch and see about the experience which I got, which I'm about to show you in a second. So, hope you guys enjoy. It's going to be me talking through the new features, etc., my personal experience with the new AI, new diplomacy system, and the new campaign pack, etc. as we go along. So without further ado, I'll get straight into it. So starting off here, really what I wanted to do is actually just check graphics settings ready so I could make kind of a technical analysis of the game while I started to play it as well. So first things to note is things have changed a little bit, not much in the interface options, but mainly in terms of the look of the game. They've gone for a whole new aesthetic. So I decided that in this I will play the brand new campaign pack which they brought out, because I want to know what the AI is capable of in a different scenario, especially with some new factions, new units, and new circumstances to start off, as well as generally wanting to get a feel for what the Emperor Edition is going to bring to someone who might be looking to buy this game now if it's in a good state. So starting off one of the new campaign packs to show you what they've been implementing and working on over this period of about a year, I thought would be a good place to start. So among checking the settings, I decided that I'm going to play as the Octavian Rome. Now the setting for this, the trailer you've just seen, is Rome is on the verge of civil war with 3 different leaders, or 4 different leaders, all well, on the brink of civil war, ready to wanting to control the Empire of Rome. This is probably the start of the end of the downfall of the Roman Empire. So it's an interesting time period for it to be set, but alas, we'll get in, see what the game looks like, see what the game feels like, and I'll take you through the different areas. So let's do it. So starting off to really analyse this game, I thought we'd start off looking at the whole campaign map overview, the interface, and general technical experience that I had when playing the new Emperor Edition. So patch 15 was a big patch, it was 1.2 gigabytes, so I did expect there to be quite a bit of new content and generally hopefully reworked a lot of things. They've been working for quite a while now over the 15 patches to improve things steadily, such as AI, the interface and interaction, along with battles, AI especially. So first off, we're going to be looking at the campaign. Now, while playing the campaign here, there was a range of, obviously a new scenario, which I was introduced to, playing the new campaign pack, but there's a lot of really cool things which actually happened to me straight off the bat, which I realised. Now, I've done multiple Let's Plays when I played Rome 2 Total War over the recent months, and in none of those did I really look at politics or the people in my party much at all. Why? Because at the time they were pretty much useless, but as you can see here, I've just got into the game and I'm already seeing the importance and the changes that have been made to the whole interface system. Now, one thing about this interface system which I praised them for adding, and I really do praise them for adding, although I do think the politics system could go a long way further and hopefully will do in the later patches, is the new introduction to the politics tab, which you can see on screen here. So what this allows me to do is see the percentage of senators more clearly and the risk of civil war based in my own empire that this can cause. Now, this has a whole new dynamic to the game really compared to what I used to have. Not only am I looking out now really in terms of diplomacy for the other factions and the other parts of Rome, it's just not get backstabbed or invaded, I'm also now having to concentrate on my own faction to stop a civil war from taking place as well. So I'm not just looking out for different factions all over the world, etc. And I do actually have to think about things that I'm doing and the things that really I'm doing on the campaign map, which I never had to do before, to be quite honest. You'll see that if you've seen any of my older videos. It was really a lot less care and attention, and it was quite quick to just speed through the turns. So here's another example of where pretty much straight away 10 minutes into the game I was deep into diplomacy with a whole range of different factions. Now, some of these decisions did take me quite a few minutes, and you'll see a little bit later on that even though I was being careful, I was actually declared war on by two factions or two civil sides of Rome and ended up being invaded. Obviously that's supposed to happen. I believe, you know, it would, although I'd like it not to. It does start you off in kind of a really difficult place with only a few armies and an agent. So this already is looking a lot better. It's actually engaging me, and I'm actually interacting with the interface and the different areas of the game a lot more effectively. So, could Rome 2 Total War have done a bit more with the politics in the Emperor Edition update? Yes, they could have, but hopefully they'll continue to really enhance it and really fine tune it, along with bringing some new interface options to give me some more information. The new politics tab does add a lot of information on there, which I'm very grateful for. However, really could be enhanced a lot more. I found myself pitched against two major enemies before long, which I really didn't expect. However, saying that, this really was an awesome thing. Before, in the old ground campaign, even playing on legendary difficulty, it would go from one extreme to the other. Now, what I mean by this is quite simply you'd play it on hard difficulty and you would find it that no enemies would even attack you when you had no protection on your cities, your borders were completely open and your armies were all the way off fighting Parthia in the far east, and the rest of the tribes would just sit there and do nothing. But then when you swapped it to legendary, you'd find yourselves being attacked by random enemies that you didn't even discover yet. It was almost like it was pre-scripted to just try and kill you off as fast as possible. Now, as you're seeing on the screen now, something very interesting happened. I ended up using the overview map for my empire for one of the first times ever in Rome 2 Total War. Now, that's partly down to the scenario which I was placed in as the player at the beginning of this campaign, is that I needed to get a grip on what was actually happening in my empire quite early on, especially as I was already at war with two major factions in the game. So we can see that the interface generally for Rome 2 Total War has improved a lot, and there's a lot more options and information available to the user. Now, politics, there's still a long way to go, and there's still a lot that could be done really to the Emperor Edition especially, and more that could have been done in this big update really to enhance the politics. I know the system they're trying to put in place, however really they really need to give that option, or at least the possibility for the player to really go in-depth diplomacy and politics, as well as improving AI constantly to make sure that opportunities in different scenarios keep presenting themselves and it doesn't become the kind of stalemate that it did in the Grand Campaign. But without further ado, that's just a look at the campaign map generally and some of the experiences I had quite early on in the game with playing as the new campaign pack. So now we're going to have a look at a battle, because I really wanted to see how the AI would actually act in a battle that was actually quite close to the wire. Now this army you see on screen right here actually goes against the army just down there, and they're actually very closely matched, so it'll be interesting just to see how this goes. With the similar amount of units, similar skilled units, it should be a good battle to kind of analyse how the AI will play it out. So without further ado, let's get into this battle and take a look. This in fact turned out to be a perfect opportunity to actually test the AI in Rome 2 Total War. The enemy on the campaign map for my first battle back in the game was actually a settlement defend, or a fort defend for the AI. Now anyone who's played the original game knows that the AI defending a fort was probably some of the worst, aside from siege, that an AI could act like. There's not a lot of space to maneuver, so I was intrigued to know how the AI had changed, or would have, or could have changed, when defending a small fort such as this. However, when getting into the battle, I was confronted with something which kind of disheartened me a little bit, and that was a graphical glitch straight away. Although my FPS was absolutely fantastic, holding around the 1 to 120 range, I was confronted, however, with a pink army and a pink enemy. For some reason, the whole units on this game, every single unit, was pink. I'm not sure the reason why this actually was, but alas, the main reason for this battle was to assess how my units moved around and how easy they were to control, and see if anything had been changed there, and to see mainly how the AI would adapt and fight in a fort siege, or just generally a land battle. A land battle's good, but generally there's not usually that much an AI can do. So for a fort battle, I want to see if the AI had really improved overall generally. So I did my usual tactic, and was quite disheartened at the beginning when they rode their archery cav out to me, or sorry, ranged cavalry out to me, and my spearmen managed to pretty much chop them to pieces. So I was pretty disheartened by that. I was kind of a bit worried at this point that the AI was still as stupid as it was before and charged units out that were completely useless against my units. However, I was soon to be proven wrong. Midway through the battle, I found myself actually losing an horrendous amount of troops to the enemy, and actually the AI was actually adopting some very clever tactics towards taking down some of my troops. By the end of the battle, I'd lost around 3 to 4 units of my spearmen, and it was mainly just my ranged units which managed to pull it back. Now I had 2 groups of spearmen going on the right flank, and were actually, I was surprised as hell when the one group of enemy spearmen that went out there managed to form a shielded square against my spearmen without me even noticing, which was causing me to lose a hell of a lot of men. So that's the first time, or one of the first times, I've ever seen the AI adapt to an outnumbered situation outside of the fort and actually employ certain formations or tactics. By the time I managed to get into the fort, I'd lost a hell of a lot of men, and generally wasn't sure if I was going to win. However, generally the morale boost I got from taking down their general really came into play, which is good to see that the morale system is still going strong and is still a good part of the game that makes sense. So how did I find the AI throughout this battle? Well, it's definitely improved to what I used to play. When I used to play a fort battle before, the AI used to be, well, quite horrendous and stand there and mainly just get ranged and shot down by a bombardment of javelins and archery, as well as moving units back and forth to the front to defend the entrance. I just end up killing them all without even moving any melee infantry in. This time I was pleasantly surprised at the results, and generally had a bit of a challenging battle, and that's to say that was my first battle of the campaign. That's never a bad thing. The next logical step was to go straight in for a siege battle, which I made personally in custom battles. I gave the AI choice of its own units. I wanted to see how the AI, what units the AI would choose, instead of me picking manually for them all the time. And I was intrigued to see generally how the siege AI is now. This was probably one of the worst bits of the AI on release in September last year, and has been probably on pretty bad throughout. The patches have been improving it very slowly, I've heard. However, this is something which I wanted to test, and I went into this filled with anticipation to see the changes and the progress that had been made. So, this is pretty much what happened.
Commander, ready and waiting. Advance and speed.
So I came under fire from the artillery, which is something I'd expect. Artillery barrage is always the first, usually the first step towards sieging a castle or fortification. However, I was a bit disheartened when I found myself sat dormant for over 5 minutes, simply waiting for the barrage to stop. After I'd moved all my units into the places or away from the fire, I quite simply had to sit there and quite simply wait for them to stop firing. And that literally did last for 5 solid minutes of me pretty much doing little to nothing while waiting for them to simply run out of ammo. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more movement there with the siege towers, or at least something before crumbling all the walls. But generally, yeah, the AI felt the need to expend all of its ammo on its artillery before even moving a single soul. Although I get the tactic, let's just say it could have been a little bit more involving, or a little bit more anything really. I mean, that was pretty boring. But alas, I wasn't going to be disheartened by that, and I went in with high anticipation for a siege battle. And this is pretty much the experience I got. Aside from the really dormant part of the beginning, which bored the hell out of me for about 5 solid minutes, the battle actually got underway and I was pleasantly surprised to an extent. Now the reason I say that is it had improved. I mean, it wasn't difficult to improve what was already there because it was literally an abomination of programming really, but generally speaking it has improved quite significantly. However, something I did notice. The AI would do what it usually does and attacks you in quite a systematic way still, and still fails to really react to any movements you make. Now what I mean by that is a formation I set up to trap them when coming down a tower and literally slaughtering them in a pen had no inclination on the AI whatsoever, and literally when I had soldiers waiting for them when they got down the ladder, they still charged pretty much with no end through that one doorway and just made it really easy to mop them up. Now what I'd love to have seen is the AI to really start reacting to player movements instead of doing the same systematic attack that they usually do. I was happy to see a flanking maneuver from the AI, something which even before the CGI would not even get onto the actual walls, they would just walk around the outside, which brings me to my next slightly concern. Is that there was a few units, especially of cavalry, which decided early on in the game that they would do the old walkabout the wall, getting shot by the towers, which really I thought we'd come past. However, it was not forever and they did come back to the correct place. So in conclusion for this siege battle, the AI have improved and they could do things much better now, like getting to places and actually fighting certain units and doing things a lot more how it should be done in terms of sieging a place or sieging a fortified position. Although there is still many things that could be improved when it comes to siege AI. I understand that it's a new front for Creative Assembly, especially with all these streets etc. But shield walls and general blocking off the streets with huge pike lines still works, and so does, you know, baiting the enemy into something really simple and flanking round. The thing that lacks with Siege and most Rome 2 AIs in pretty much all circumstances is the inability to seem to adapt to a situation or a player's moves, which is quite important in a strategy game. You need something to be able to react and be able to strategize based on what you're doing. And that's just where this AI sadly in Siege still falls down. Although certain things have improved, and have improved by quite a bit. There's still major things which need improving and need work, especially when it comes to Siege. The politics enhancements and progression now is a lot better, and I think the new campaign pack as well is pretty awesome, so I'd definitely recommend trying that out. But the overall question for this entire video really was to base an opinion on how far this game has come versus the launch in the 3rd of September last year. And to answer your question, it's come very far. In terms of AI and progression and content, there's been a whole range of things enhanced, added and fixed. However, there's still a long way to go. So is it worth parting with your money now to get the Emperor Edition, or to even buy the game generally? And the answer probably is yes. You're going to enjoy this game, but don't be expecting miracles or the most intelligent AI there is. Rome, I mean, the Total War series has never been that amazing when it comes to AI, but this is definitely not a prime example of fantastic AI. But nonetheless, you can still enjoy this game, and the campaigns are incredibly fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.